Listen.
Well, we've been trapped into that thing called African descent, because I really don't know what that means. Because the white supremacists themselves said, hey, we're Africans too. Open any anthropology book, and the white supremacists themselves say, we originated in Africa. All people originated in Africa, including white people. So if you're talking about African descent, so what are you talking about? I'm African too. And then the white supremacists, if they tell the truth, they'll say, hey boy, wake up and smell the coffee. It ain't where you're from. See, you black people got a thing about where you're from. It's what you are now and what you will be. It ain't where you're from. Everybody's from somewhere. So what? It's who has the power, boy. You ain't noticed that? Who has the power and how did they get it? And we know more about that than anybody because we got it and you ain't. Now figure that one out. Now you can talk about where you're from all day long and you can talk about where I'm from. So what? Where you're from is where you are now and where you can go and what you can do when you get there each and every time, and nobody can stop you. And as a white supremacist, I ain't found nobody who can match that. Now that's the voice of the white supremacists.
Mm-hmm.
So we should get out of this thing of studying our neighbors. You know, that's what I call it.
Okay.
Sitting in a corner and talking about, well, you know, I got some great ancestors. Well, what does the code say about ancestors? You know what I say when people ask me about my ancestors? I say this, what I've written in the book. My ancestor invented breathing. And I never say nothing else. That's all I have to say. I don't look at any books and all like that. When I started talking about ancestors, and they started talking about what your ancestors did and going and picking through this and this artifact and that artifact, I never paid any attention to any of that. I simply say, Neely Fuller's, going under this slave name, ancestor, invented breathing. Why? Why do I know my ancestor invented breathing? Because I'm breathing. I could not be breathing without my ancestor inventing a thing called breathing. And it doesn't get any better than breathing. That's why I say that's the only artifact I need.
Okay.
It doesn't get, I don't know of anything better than breathing.
Okay.
For a person, an animal, a plant, or whatever. I don't know of anything. Whatever invented breathing, that was my ancestor. So now we can just, you know, when we sit down, it's a practical reason for this. Because, see, the white supremacists sit there and say, well, tell me all about your ancestors. You know, before you can get this job, I mean, you got to show me your background. I mean, have your people ever done anything worthwhile, blah, 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 blah? That's a trick. That's a massive trick. That's just something to take up a whole lot of your time and exhaust you, which the white supremacists are good at. So you just simply say, oh, my ancestor invented breathing. All right? So we can move on to something else.
Okay.
Right quick. Bam. Just like that.
Alrighty.
The codification is about moving fast right out the gate. Now, some people have said they've seen some cartoons of my work on the internet that have been presented, and that it pretty well embellishes what I have been trying to say in my textbooks. And to the extent that it does that, well, that has been, from what I understand, some people reported to me, a plus. Because they didn't understand what I had written very well, but when they saw those cartoons that just repeated what I was saying and attaching my name to it, and came right out of the book, the material did, they say that they better understood it. And I can understand that because people are kind of visual, particularly in the year 2021 now, more visual than ever.